Welcome to Insurance Technology Amplified, the podcast where we explore how innovation is transforming the insurance industry. This is the place where technology and expertise come together to empower agents, carriers, and the industry alike. Thank you for tuning in. Now, let's get to the show.
Kiefer, welcome to the Revolution.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here. It's cool what you guys got going on and excited to be a part of it.
So I want this to be like the least stiff, scripted, type scenario. There's a bunch of podcasts out there and there's a bunch of people putting out a ton of content. And we really wanted this to be organic. We've been talking for a while where, you're obviously a leader and a pioneer in everything having to do with digital commercial lines rating. And we are so bloody proud and happy that you're on the team. And we just wanted to, it's kind of hard from just like one press release to share like what our vision is, and figured we're all here, we're planning, world domination in 2025, and figured let's take out the iPhone and let's talk and let's, kind of share with our customers and our potential customers. What are we doing? What's the plan? How does rating and an agency management platform come together? So I'd love to hear from my partner, Peter, and his vision, and Adam, yours. And we could talk about world domination. So,
yeah, I think, first of all, I'm just so impressed with the team that you guys have built, and, I've been very familiar with Now Momentum for a long time. And obviously you and I have been working together for too long in this whole digital journey across commercial insurance. And I think the opportunity to, really work with you is really exciting, and I appreciate, the friendship and the mentorship and everything along the way. So it's fun to finally make this official and make it a real thing. And then obviously what Peter brings to the table and what the platform has, I think it's just really impressive. And being in the space for 10 years and seeing a lot of different platforms that were out there, I think what Momentum is bringing to the table is truly something different. And it's a different strategy around things, and it's a different way to connect things. And really this idea of an agency management platform being bigger than a system, I think it's going to change the industry, and just excited to play a small role in it, and how the rating and the market access components come into this is going to be a lot of fun.
Peter, what are your thoughts?
I'm just really happy to have Adam on the team. Remember the first thing I told you when I met Adam, when you introduced me?
Yeah, you liked him right away.
Well, but I said, what
Because of how handsome I am.
Well, that's true. Now that, that's a whole new story. Definitely improves the level of handsomeness. As Michael certainly proved it that nice stuff. We made the balance. But no, I said, why did you wait 9 months to introduce me to one of your best friends? One of my top goals is to build a world-class commercial rater. So I was really puzzled, because we're looking for talent. We want to have a rater. Don't really know what we're doing. I mean, I'm an agent, you're an agent. We've done rating on portals, forums, emails, the whole 9 yards. So, got to know Adam, like the guy, then got to see, when we mentioned what he built? No. But we got to see the name of the company, one of the original raters out there. Really impressed. Obviously, he's the brains behind it, the founder. And, knew right away that there was somebody would fit right on the team. As a person, culture and fill up a big void in one of our top priorities, 24, 25. We look at the raters as one of the key components of the momentum management platform.
It's part of every single client they have. It's obviously the relationship building, understanding the risk around each customer, that their policyholders. But then that rating touches every single customer. So really having a rating system that's truly native to an AMS, creating this concept of an AMP, right? I think it's different. There's nothing else out there that's like it. Obviously my experience in building things like this, my experience in knowing other people who have built things like this, there's a lot of good things happening, but I don't think anybody has the capability to kind of plug in a rating engine with market access into an AMS, and then add in all the other things that Momentum is doing with lead gen and everything else, right? I mean, it really creates this entire kind of end-to-end system. A lot of the frustration I've had with the industry over the last 10 years is I think people got really good at little things, right? Like everybody was really kind of good at one little thing, whereas I think we can approach it from a more holistic approach where you have agents that are kind of going from end to end for a full life cycle of their policy.
I think it's one of the things that's kind of, underrated and the value that like only an agency management system could bring to bear. It's really, I think for the first time, agents going to have like full life cycle visibility from the lead to the prospect, to the accord form, to the submission, to the quote, to the download, to the renewal. It really doesn't exist anywhere in commercial lines. And there aren't too many AMSs out there. And I really think like that's been the missing ingredient. It's really tapping into the distribution, giving the agents a quote at the point of sale on the glass when they want it. I think it really is going to be a game changer.
No, totally. And if I quickly, as I was kind of getting up to speed on the product, right in a product meeting, we were running into an issue where any of you who have done commercial rating will understand this. You don't always have eyes all the time, right? It goes to the carrier. Sometimes it comes back. You get different things back from the carrier. And we were kind of debating, well, how do we know that it happened? And then it was just kind of this realization. Peter was in the meeting and it was like, well, it's in the AMS. And so there's so many problems that we can solve across the industry because we kind of get to see both sides of this. And so from a build standpoint, from an innovation standpoint, a lot of the frustrations I've had over the last 10 years, we can kind of solve and move forward in a different way, in a meaningful way to agents.
So Peter, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I forgot, but it's nothing much to add really. The value of a rater. But I want to say one thing. I'm astounded by, I wanted to build a rater 15 years ago. The day I became an agent, the next day is like, why can't I quote? And we all know why. So what really made this possible, what made it impossible before, is technology at the carrier level and how slow it, but it's amazing to witness. And I've used this analogy before, but the pendulum swinging from, it's not even feasible, to where like carriers are now scrambling to join all the different raters and coming up with APIs, expanding the diversity of different lines of business and rating codes that they want to take. So it is definitely, took a while. Once the ball started rolling, it's good to see that. It's good for the industry. And things have sped up. About years ago, how long it took to get a commercial quote? No.
I think a lot of people do know about digital commercial quoting, and for the Momentum customers, many don't. For the Momentum customers, I think some do, but a lot don't know what we're doing. So right now we have our rate platform live on Momentum. In the best scenario, like what's the fastest quote? I mean, we have, some of them are instant quote, the ability to bind online. Like I think, Adam, if you want to take a minute, or Peter, I think it's important, like what is digital quoting? Like, and what are we offering? 'Cause the terms are thrown out a lot. I think it becomes a lot of noise. And like, I want people to know, like, what is available today? If you are a customer, what can you do? Why is it helpful? I'd love to get into like the nitty gritty, like the real value prop of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing, it's an efficiency and a time saver for agent. I think there's also a lot of ancillary benefits in terms of, making sure you have better coverage for your clients, increasing your revenue, all those things that go with it. But it's going to save a lot of time for your people as you're going through these things where, in 15 years, every carrier in the country came out with a portal. This is the greatest thing ever. I was working for a carrier at the time and we were very proud of our portal. And I would go into agents' offices and they would have, their windows open on their computer screens with 15 tabs open, and they had, XYZ carrier, ABC carrier, all these different carriers, and everybody had a portal. And so it got to this point where the portals were no longer, they were saving a lot of time for the companies, but they were no longer saving time for the agent. Now they had 15 portals. In fact, actually it cost them time because, the old method was they put it on an Accord, sent an email out, and they blasted out 15 carriers. They did one thing. Carriers had a lot of work, and the carriers kind of flipped it around, and then they didn't have a lot of work, and now the agent all of a sudden submitted 15. So I think the value of a rater at its core is really that standardization of data, right? Because you have, even if you look at something like a workers' comp or a BOP policy, GL policy, you're asking the same types of questions over and over and over again. So if you have a rating system that can standardize those questions, standardize those class codes, understand kind of what happens when, that's where the real time value comes in. And then you can submit all these things at one time, hit the APIs, right? And there's different levels of APIs. Some we can go all the way to buy instantly, right? Credit card payments right there at the same time. Other ones you're getting quotes, right? But we can standardize even that experience within there so that it feels seamless to the agent and save some time. And you can even, what's great about the Momentum platform is we can take that to the next level where it's not just hey, here's a little work comp policy that we wanted to quote for. Like we can have E&S policies and big property schedules and can still run through the submission portal and standardize them, clean them up. And the workflow changes from there, but connected to an AMS, I just can't understate the value of that. Be able to pull that data in there, can save input time. We can go into the policy. We can see, we can pull the data out of the AMS, pre-fill the application with it. I mean, there's just so many different things you can do with data. It just changes the whole.
So that's obviously the obvious point, efficiency. I think there's even as an agent, a bigger benefit. And I'm just going to say the word risk appetite. So prior to this, you had to know, where do I put this risk? So it took years for an agent to get this kind of expertise. And now, for good or for bad, you don't have to do that anymore, because we told these markets, the markets themselves, the carriers can come on our platform and fill out their risk appetite. And the first step in any submission is risk appetite. Check, for that type of risk, based on a number of very basic factors, who wants to write it, who is competitive. Markets change quickly. Carrier ABC one day, next month, next quarter could be another carrier that is more competitive, or have better coverage. So you no longer have to keep track of that. You have to have 15 spreadsheets and tell the entire organization, they have to call the same guy that's been there 40 years to figure out where do I put this risk. You literally take the data from the AMS and will suggest to you. So, that type of knowledge that is built into the system to me, it's invaluable. It's really helpful tool.
And I think to take that further, the net benefit of what you're describing is increased premium. It's increased revenue, because where ordinarily you might just be selling a work comp policy, but if a BOP is required or a cyber, and you might not have expertise in those, part of what the platform and the engine does is it makes suggestions, it makes recommendations. So it'll help in your upselling and cross-selling efforts. It'll help in rounding out the book, which is like this aspiration that, that'd be great. I think for the first time, really, I don't want to talk about the personal side of things, but on the commercial side, the tech has caught up with the desire, where we have the tools to help you upsell, to help you cross-sell, and that'll have an immediate impact on bound premium. And Peter, we here at Momentum, we always talk about the concept of empowering the agents to stop saying no. And if you think about like the submissions that come into agents, how many do they just throw out of the funnel right away? Because, I don't do that. And by having access to this rating platform or a rater, I want to talk about the stigma of a rater. We'll get to that in a minute. But can you talk about just how powerful it is? You're a guy, you built an AMS. It's such an incredibly hard thing to do. Can you talk about the power of now being able to quote in the AMS? I haven't touched on it, but
we can pre-qualify and do an indication without even any involvement from the agent. You can open your renewal center, you can open your prospect pipeline, and we can pop up pre-qualified quotes. Again, just checking risk appetite and even suggesting markets that you may not be appointed with. But remember, we can connect you as a Momentum network. If you don't have a market, or one of your preferred markets that you do business with cannot satisfy that submission, we can tell you which 5 markets can. And if you need an appointment, or you can go to our wholesale arm, you can definitely do that. So the data is there, and data is your biggest asset. It's not the book of business. Well, it is the book of business generating revenue, but the data is yours. With the only AMS that believes that, apparently. And you should extract every revenue potential out of your data. And one way to do this is to have knowledge in the system that can tell you, how you can generate additional revenue on the data.
So give one example, talk about the renewal center.
Yeah, the renewal center is a great example. I think so many times when you think about a rater, I think so many people are focused on new business, right? Which they should be. But when you look at, depending upon which report you look at, 85% of a revenue from an agency is coming from the renewal on an annual basis. And number probably ebbs and flows a little bit, but a large sum of the revenue is coming from our renewal book. And so I think one of the other things that a rater can do that maybe people overlook is the defensibility. And Peter made a point too, right? You've got your agents, your CSRs who know, that this carrier is going to write this risk every time. And agents have more knowledge than we can probably ever have because you're living it every single day. what you may not catch is this new carrier over here that says, today I want to be the new restaurant market, right? And your team may miss that, not through any fault of their own, just things change quickly. And so to be able to kind of create that defensibility within your book, not miss opportunities for a market, I think is a big deal. And so you can focus on growing your book while, kind of letting the AMS kind of handle the renewal cycle, right? You can take it and say, there's things we're building now, and these are not pie in the sky things. These are things that are being developed right this minute where, they'll probably be available by the time we put this video out, where you can, we can search in the AMS 90 days out and we can say, hey, Michael's Deli's coming up for renewal. It would be a great fit with this market. If you haven't already looked there, we can actually quote it for you, pull the data out of there, automatically do all these things through the automation center. And I think there are things that are coming to the agents of the momentum world that I think are really going to fundamentally change the way that you but
Yeah, I want, to double down on that for a sec. And I want everybody who's listening to this to understand what part of what you get when you subscribe to the AMP, the Agency Management Platform, is the Momentum Automation Center. And Automation Center is a broad term. It can mean a lot of things, but practically what it's allowing you to do is basically create custom workflows. So when I have 90 days, I could set a trigger. When I'm 90 days from renewal, I want you to take this information. We will actually send it to the carrier via API and get a quote. Send that quote back into the AMS. Now we can launch a marketing automation to say, hey, let's email that to the insured. And there's no end to what we could do. And having quoting and binding and rating as part of any workflow, I think the number one motivator is, like everybody talks about it, premium, it's efficiency. I think I want to, if we're playing Family Feud, like number 3 survey is ease of use, right? Ease of use. So if that's important to you, like to me, it's like, I want to have the chance to talk to every agent and say, like, how are you not using this?
Yeah. Well, especially when you look at kind of into the weeds on what that process you just described, we take the renewal 90 days before it goes to the carrier, it comes back. What the agent sees, there's all that's happening. I mean, that's all true. But what the agent sees is 89 days before the renewal, there's an inbox, notification in their inbox to say, Michael's, his premium on his renewal went up 10%. We automatically quoted with another carrier. Do you want to move forward? Right? So there is all those things happen in the background, right? And you got an email sitting in your inbox 89 days before renewal that says, yeah, we should move that account, or no, we should keep it where it is, right? Whatever the decision is for the agent.
So we're definitely moving in the direction very soon, actually, sooner than we think, of having AI agents do our stuff, right? And this is a step on the way. And it goes even to enrich your example, Michael. 90 days prior, you can set up a workflow. 90 days prior, it gets triggered. Nothing about it. The first thing it's checked is, do I have sufficient data to quote? Right? I don't even have the renewal quote. Sufficient data. If there isn't, we hit outside APIs. We call it enriching the data. We get all the payroll, the most date, number of employees, owners, the structure, how many locations they have. So now we have all the information required to get, if not a quote, an indication, right? The next step in that automated workflow, after we make sure we have all the most up-to-date information, is to actually go get a quote, maybe even from the current carrier prior to them issuing a renewal. And then based on a certain threshold, 19% higher than last year, we can decide then what to prioritize, right? And then do we need to go out, based on my knowledge, if it's 5%, do I need to go out and shop this thing around and get, additional quotes because I'm at a risk of losing that renewal to somebody else? Also, the automation can check if things change significantly from last year based on pulling that data, which means we may have to get a different policy. We have to, find a carrier whose policy has different coverages, different exclusions. So we're moving in that direction, and Rome wasn't built in a day. So step by step, eventually it will all come up. But from enriching the data, from these automation workflows, we'll make the whole thing one seamless process with almost zero involvement.
You touched on something before, and I want to elaborate and expand on it. 'Cause I just want to make sure it's super clear. If you think about the workflow and you're an agent and you're using our platform and you come and you want to get a quote. So what our rate platform is we built the digital connection to carriers for you to submit on your agency code, right? We don't want to get involved in that in any way, but we're good at building tech, and we built the pipes to the carriers. That's part A. Part B, what Adam is really in charge of and focusing on, and his mandate is we have a significant amount of agents who signed up to our rate platform, but then we found out they really don't have a lot of market access. They don't have the appointments, which is why wholesalers do what they do. So we basically launched our own kind of, I'll call it a digital wholesaler. It's not a true wholesaler where we're not competing with those guys, but basically when agents on our platform and they want to be able to quote, we want to empower the agents to stop saying no. We want to help your hit ratios grow by double digits. And part of that is providing market access. Like, I just wanted to be like super clear that we really have two offerings. We'll have the pipes if you need it, but we also have the technology that's actually giving you appointments and market access through our Momentum Win or wholesale insurance network.
I think it goes back to your ease of use point, right? Like the easiest thing for you is you have a direct appointment, you want to use it, great. We'll help facilitate that. We're not messing with your commission. We're not messing with your contingencies. We're not messing with your underwriter that you built a relationship with. All that stays exactly the same. We just simplify that submission process. But if you need access, a lot of these, carriers have big requirements on an appointment, or there may be really specialized programs where you've got, one tree trimmer that would fit great in this program, but to get an appointment with that, you're just not going to be able to do it. Right. And so I think there's a lot of kind of specialized programs we can bring to the table. General markets in terms of, meeting those minimum quotas, we can help agents with those as you grow. And it really becomes kind of a one-stop shop for all your submissions that are running.
You and I were talking yesterday about, the name of the product is Momentum Rate. And I've received some feedback that said, change the name.
Yeah.
People don't like the term rater or rating. Do you agree?
I think it gets a bad rap, but I always go back and forth because then, people want to know what it does, right? Like sometimes you come up with these really cute names.
You need one word.
What is that, right? And people know what a rater is, and there is probably some negative connotation, right? And I think it becomes this whole a race to the bottom, right? The carriers tend to freak out on raters, agents tend to freak out on raters. So well, just find me the cheapest quote. But I don't. You can use it however you want to use it, and you're going to market your accounts however you're going to market them today. But I think that to limit it to this is all about price all the time. It's not true, right? Because we're building in comparison features where, it may be, a BOP is not a BOP, right? As every agent knows, you may have a BOP that has, standardized coverages enhancements that another one doesn't necessarily. And so it's not, this one costs $1,000, this one costs $1,200, but you may be getting 3 times the amount of coverage for that $1,200 than you are for that $1,000, right? And so to think of a rater, and I think that's where the negative connotation is. What's the cheapest quote and what's the fastest I can get it? I think it's small-sighted or short-sighted, I should say, and how people look at it. The way the rater works, to be able to proactively kind of do these things. And when you get into cross-sell and all those different things that a rater can do for you, I think it really amplifies the whole thing. And so it's maybe a little bit of a bad word, but I don't know what a better one is.
No, but that's a great point. It's just because I want to have efficiency. What was the second thing? It was the risk appetite, having larger access. But this, I think it's simplistic and probably not true reflection of what a lot of agents do. I think a good agent, what makes a good agent from an average agent is they don't look just at the price. And price is
100%, 100%.
But the job of an agent, obviously, is to make sure the client's covered properly, right? So our comparison feature, you can compare it even to stuff that we didn't quote. If you have another quote, you can scan the deck page, you can scan the proposal. The AI will be able to tell you all the different forms, the exclusions, the coverages, and even be able to determine, summarize for you the difference in the quotes and how to apply to your clients. So I believe that is a tremendous, not just for E&O, but just for the agent to be able to provide proper service to the client. It's a great value.
Would you think on a scale of 0 to 100%, where 100% being, I guarantee this, to 0, like I have no shot. If there's an agent who is not using digital quoting, digital rating, or whether you're an existing Momentum customer who's not using our rate platform or an agency using any agency management system, somebody comes and starts using rate, 0 to 100, how much better will they be? Can you guarantee to a degree of 100% that if they start using rate, business will pick up? They will be better at what they do. Would you be able to say 100%, 90%?
I would say 99% because as long as I've been in this industry, there's always,
Right.
but I would say almost any agent out there, unless you have the most bizarre niche book of business in the entire universe, it's going to say, because once that data gets, I mean, and Peter made a point of it, the data is so valuable inside of an insurance agent where you can understand, we haven't even gotten to this in this conversation, right? But like the rating that goes into there, but then you start to understand the current market conditions, right? Like if you have all this rating engine going through, your submissions going through the rating engine, excuse me, and then you've got, 6 months of data on there, you're going to start seeing trends ahead of the market in terms of, looks like, not to pick on a specific carrier, looks like Liberty Mutual prices are hardening in the BOP in the coastal regions, right? Or a bad example because everybody knows those are already hard, but there may be other trends that you can kind of see happening before your competitors and maybe even before the market's happening, right? Like once that data starts flowing and it's all in there, even, agents who aren't doing, little quick hit, work comp BOP policies that they want to buy quickly, even ones that are putting in more sophisticated risks, that data is so valuable in how you understand the market and what's changing it. And again, you can spot trends before they even happen.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Insurance Technology Amplified. Be sure to stay connected and up to date by following Momentum AMP on all social networks. For show notes, resources, and details on upcoming episodes, visit our podcast page at momentumamp.com/podcast. We look forward to having you join us next time. Take care and see you soon.